Marcus Reeves stood frozen on the doorstep of the house he had abandoned a decade ago, his trembling finger hovering over the doorbell. The porch had been repainted, forest green instead of the faded blue he remembered, and terracotta pots filled with thriving plants flanked the entrance where empty milk crates once stood. A basketball hoop now crowned the driveway, and through the front window he glimpsed a living room transformed by furniture he didn't recognize. His stomach clenched as he finally pressed the bell, its unfamiliar chime echoing inside. 10 years, 10 birthdays, 10 Christmases, 10 first days of school, all sacrificed in what he had convinced himself was an act of necessary escape. The door swung open, and Marcus's carefully rehearsed speech dissolved on his tongue. The teenage boy standing before him, nearly a man now, was unmistakably Liam, his firstborn, though he stood nearly a foot taller than when he'd last seen him. His eyes, so like his own, widened in recognition before hardening into something he had never seen there before. Complete and utter indifference. "Can I help you?" Liam asked, his voice deeper than he expected, a stranger's voice. Before Marcus could answer, a girl appeared beside him, Zoe, his daughter, now a teenager with hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, no longer the little girl with mismatched barrettes. "Who is it?" Zoe asked, then froze, her hand gripping the doorframe. Behind them, movement caught Marcus's eye. A woman approached, Elena, his wife, though that word felt foreign now. The lines around her eyes had deepened, confidence radiated from her posture in a way he didn't remember. She placed protective hands on the children's shoulders. "Marcus," she said simply, neither a question nor a greeting. "Before we continue, comment from where you are watching from." 10 years earlier, Elena Reeves woke to silence. The house was never silent, not with 5 children under one roof. She reached across the bed, finding empty space where Marcus should have been. Not unusual. He often rose before her to start breakfast. But something felt different. The silence was too complete, too hollow. She found the note on the kitchen counter, Marcus's handwriting unmistakable. "I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore." 7 words. 7 words to end 12 years of marriage. 7 words to abandon 5 children. Elena read the note 3 times, certain she'd missed something, an explanation, a promise to return, anything that made sense of this. But there was nothing else, just those 7 words and the deafening silence of a house with one less heartbeat. She checked the closet, half empty, the bathroom, his razor gone, the driveway, his car missing. She stood in the kitchen, the note crumpled in her fist as reality crashed over her in waves. Liam would be up soon, asking for breakfast. 7-year-old Zoe needed her hair braided for school. Aiden's science project was due. Sophia had a doctor's appointment at 10. Noah, just 3, would cry for his father. Her phone lay on the counter. She should call someone. His parents, his friends, the police. But who do you call when your husband vanishes voluntarily? Who do you blame when he chooses to leave? "Mom?" Liam stood in the doorway, pajama pants too short at the ankles. "Where's Dad?" Elena stared at her oldest son, 10 years old and already so perceptive. What could she say? What words could possibly explain? "He had to go away for a bit," she heard herself say. "When will he be back?" "I'm not sure, buddy." The lie tasted bitter on her tongue. But how do you tell a child that their father left without saying goodbye? That he walked out on all of them without explanation? Her mind raced as she moved through the motions of breakfast, pouring cereal, slicing bananas, brewing coffee she'd never finish. Each movement felt mechanical, disconnected from her body. The other children trickled into the kitchen, sleepy-eyed and innocent. "Where's Daddy?" Aiden asked, climbing onto his chair. "He had to go somewhere," Liam answered before Elena could, shooting his mother a look that broke her heart. Even at 10, Liam understood something was terribly wrong. "Will he be back for my doctor?" Sophia asked, ketchup smearing her cheek. "I'll take you," Elena said. "But Daddy always takes me," she insisted. Elena felt something crack inside her. "I know, sweetheart, but today it'll be me." Noah began to cry from his high chair, a low wail that seemed to give voice to the ache spreading through Elena's chest. That first day passed in a blur. She called in sick to work, dropped the older children at school with forced smiles and promises everything was fine, took Sophia to her appointment where the doctor gave her pitying looks, changed Noah's diapers with determined efficiency, and between every task, she called Marcus's cell phone, each call going straight to voicemail. By evening, when no call had been returned, she faced the truth she'd been avoiding all day. He wasn't coming back. Not today. Maybe not ever. After the children were finally asleep, Elena sat alone at the kitchen table. Unpaid bills stacked beside her. A calendar crowded with appointments and commitments designed for 2 parents to manage. 5 children depending on her for everything. She buried her face in her hands and allowed herself exactly 5 minutes to fall apart. 5 minutes of silent tears and raw anger. 5 minutes to mourn the life she thought they were building. Then she straightened, wiped her face, and opened the bills. Joanne called from the accounting firm the next morning. "Where are you, Elena?" "We have the Mitchell audit today." "Family emergency," Elena said, watching Noah smear oatmeal across his high chair. "My husband is gone. I need a few days." Silence then. "Gone? What do you mean gone?" "He left yesterday. Didn't say where, didn't say why." Another pause. God, Elena. "The kids? They're with me. I don't know, they keep asking for him." "Take the week," Joanne said. "But Elena, we're in the middle of tax season. I can't hold your position indefinitely." "I know, I'll figure something out." But as she hung up, Elena had no idea what that something might be. Her job as an accountant paid well but required long hours and intense focus during tax season. Marcus had worked part-time as a handyman, arranging his schedule around the children. Childcare for 5 kids would cost more than she made. That afternoon, she met with Liam's teacher, Mr. Patel. His eyes softened with sympathy as she explained the situation. "Liam's a remarkable boy," he said, "but this will be hard on him. On all of them." "Children are resilient," Mr. Patel continued, "but they need stability, consistency, a routine they can count on." Elena nodded, making mental notes. Stability, consistency, routine, things that had vanished overnight. On day 3, reality hit harder. The school called. Zoe had a fever. The babysitter she'd hastily hired for Noah and Sophia quit, claiming Noah was too clingy. The refrigerator stood nearly empty, and still no word from Marcus. By the end of the first week, Elena had lost 7 pounds, slept a total of 19 hours, and developed a twitch in her left eye. The children spiraled in their own ways. Liam grew eerily responsible, getting his siblings dressed each morning. Zoe stopped speaking entirely for 2 days. Aiden had a meltdown when his socks didn't match exactly. Sophia developed a habit of hiding her toys, afraid they too might disappear. And Noah woke screaming for his father every night. Elena realized she needed help. Not just babysitters or daycare, she needed a system. "I don't know how to do this," she admitted to Thomas, their neighbor, a retired teacher who'd been dropping off casseroles. 5 kids, my job, this house. I can't." "Nobody expects you to know," Thomas said gently, "but you'll learn, and you're not alone." That conversation became a turning point. Elena created a whiteboard system for the kitchen wall, color-coded schedules, chore assignments, even for the youngest. She found an affordable daycare that would take both Noah and Sophia. She arranged with Joanne to adjust her hours, starting earlier so she could pick the kids up from school. Money became the next mountain. Marcus's income was gone, and Elena's salary barely covered the mortgage. She sold her jewelry first, then her collection of designer handbags. She learned to coupon, to shop sales, to make meals that could stretch for days. 2 months after Marcus left, Elena met with a lawyer. "You need to establish legal custody," the lawyer advised. "If he returns unexpectedly, you could face complications." "He wouldn't just take them," Elena said, but even as the words left her mouth, she wasn't sure. The man who abandoned 5 children without explanation was a stranger to her. The lawyer gave her a steady look. People do unexpected things when they're desperate. Protect yourself. Protect them. Elena filed for divorce and full custody the next day. Marcus never responded to the legal notices. 6 months after he walked out, the court granted Elena's requests. The divorce was finalized. The children were legally hers. It should have felt like a victory. Instead, it felt like the official end of a dream, the dream of their family as it once was. "You should start dating again," Joanne told her 1 year after Marcus left. They were at the office reviewing financial statements during lunch break. Elena laughed, the sound rusty from disuse. "Right, because men are lining up to date a woman with 5 kids and permanent dark circles. My brother's divorced. No kids. Nice guy." Elena shook her head. "I barely have time to shower, Joanne. Dating isn't even on my radar." But the truth was more complicated. It wasn't just time, it was trust. Marcus's abandonment had broken something fundamental in her. The idea of letting someone else in, of creating another vulnerability for her children, seemed impossible. Instead, Elena poured everything into her family and her work. She learned to fix leaky faucets and build science fair projects. She memorized which vegetables each child would eat without complaint and which would cause rebellion. She became the keeper of lost teeth and bad dreams, of school projects and soccer practices. The children changed too. Liam grew serious, his childhood compressed into something briefer than it should have been. At 12, he was already helping with homework, already thinking about how to ease his mother's burden. "You don't have to do so much," Elena told him one night, finding him folding laundry well past bedtime. "Someone has to," Liam replied. The words haunted Elena. Someone has to. The mantra of children who grow up too soon. By the 3rd year, they had found their rhythm. The house ran on systems and shorthand, on knowing glances and unspoken agreements. They weren't just surviving anymore, they were functioning. Some days, they even thrived. Elena received a promotion at work, senior accountant with better hours and better pay. The timing felt like a gift. Liam was starting high school, Zoe needed braces, and the younger 3 were growing through clothes at an alarming rate. On a rare free weekend, Elena decided it was time for something new. "We're painting the living room," she announced at breakfast. 5 pairs of eyes stared at her. "What color?" Zoe asked. "You tell me. Each of you picks a wall." It was chaos. Glorious, paint-splattered chaos. Liam chose forest green, Zoe a sunny yellow, Aiden bright blue, Sophia lavender, and Noah. Well, Noah's wall ended up a patchwork of whatever colors were left. The result was hideous, mismatched, completely impractical. Elena loved it. "This," she told them as they stood back to admire their work, "is our house now. We make the rules." That night, after the younger ones were asleep, Liam sat with Elena on the porch steps. "Do you think he'll ever come back?" he asked, the question hanging in the cool night air. Elena considered lying, considered soft reassurances, but Liam deserved better. "I don't know, buddy, but either way, we're okay. We've got this." Liam nodded slowly. "Yeah, we do." It was the first time in 3 years that Elena believed it completely. They were okay, different, scarred, but okay. 5 years passed, then 7, then 10. Noah barely remembered Marcus, just fragments like the scent of his aftershave or the sound of his laugh. Sophia recalled more, but the memories had a dreamlike quality, softened by time. Aiden spoke of him rarely, as if he were a story someone had told him rather than his own father. Zoe remembered most clearly, her anger preserved like an insect in amber, unchanged while she grew around it. And Liam remembered everything, carried it like stones in his pockets, present but hidden. Elena watched them grow with a fierce pride that sometimes felt like pain. Liam earned a scholarship to State College. Zoe became captain of the debate team. Aiden discovered a talent for art that transformed their refrigerator door into a gallery. Sophia played soccer with a determination that left Elena breathless. And Noah, sweet Noah, grew into a boy whose laugh could illuminate the darkest rooms. They were no longer defined by absence. They were defined by what they had built together. Then came the letter. It arrived on a Tuesday, ordinary as dirt. No return address, but Elena recognized the handwriting immediately. Her hands trembled as she set it on the kitchen counter, unopened. 10 years. 10 years of building something from nothing. 10 years of becoming a family on their own terms. If you are enjoying the story, please take a moment to subscribe. It's free and means a lot to us. Let's continue. She stared at the envelope as the afternoon light shifted across it. Whatever it contained couldn't change what they'd become, but it could disrupt what they'd built. That evening, after dinner, Elena finally opened the letter. The children were scattered throughout the house: homework, video games, phone calls with friends. Normal Tuesday activities in a life Marcus knew nothing about. Elena, I don't know how to begin this letter. I've started it 100 times over the years. I know I have no right to reach out after so long, but I'm hoping you'll read this through. I've been in therapy for 3 years now. My counselor says I need to make amends, but this is more than that. I want to see them, our children. I want to explain, face to face, why I left. I was sick, Elena. Not physically, mentally. The doctors now say it was severe depression after Noah, never treated, that spiraled into something darker. I couldn't feel anything except overwhelming dread. I convinced myself you'd all be better without me. I was wrong. So terribly wrong. I've built a stable life now. I work at a construction firm in Westbrook. I have a small apartment. I've been sober for 4 years. I'm not asking to disrupt your lives. I just want to see them. Even once. To apologize in person. To answer the questions I know they must have. My number is below. I understand if you don't call. Marcus. Elena folded the letter carefully along its creases. Depression. Mental illness. Sobriety. Words that explained but didn't excuse. Words that came 10 years too late. She tucked the letter into her pocket and went to find Liam, who was home from college for spring break. "Can we talk?" Elena asked, tapping on the doorframe of Liam's old room. Liam looked up from his laptop. At 20, he had Marcus's eyes and Elena's steady calm. "What's up?" Elena sat on the edge of the bed, choosing her words carefully. "I got a letter today. From your father." Liam's expression didn't change, but his posture stiffened. "What did he want?" "To see you, all of you, to explain why he left." "After 10 years?" Liam closed his laptop. "That's convenient. He says he was sick, depression, addiction. And that makes it okay?" A flash of anger, quickly contained. "No," Elena said firmly. "It doesn't make it okay. Nothing makes abandoning your children okay. But it might help you understand." Liam was quiet for a long moment. "Have you told the others?" "Not yet. I wanted to talk to you first." "Zoe will explode," Liam predicted. "Aiden might be curious. Sophia barely remembers him. And Noah. Noah has photographs, that's all." They sat in silence, the weight of the past pressing down between them. "What do you think I should do?" Elena finally asked. Liam looked surprised. "You're asking me?" "You're an adult now, and this affects all of you more than it affects me." Liam considered this. "I think we should know, all of us, then decide together." Elena nodded, a surge of pride cutting through her uncertainty. Liam had grown into a thoughtful young man, fair-minded even when it was difficult. That night, Elena called a family meeting. They gathered in the living room with its mismatched walls, now layered with a decade of family photos and memories Marcus had never been part of. One by one, she watched their expressions change as she explained. Zoe's face flushed with anger. Aiden looked down at his hands. Sophia bit her lip. Noah, now 13, seemed more confused than anything else. "He just wants to see us?" Zoe demanded. "After 10 years of nothing? Not even a birthday card?" "That's what he says," Elena answered. "What if we don't want to see him?" Aiden asked quietly. "Then you don't have to," Elena assured him. "This is your choice. Each of you gets to decide for yourselves." "I want to," Noah said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at him. "I don't remember him. Not really. I want to see his face." Sophia nodded slowly. Me too. I have questions. He doesn't deserve answers, Zoe muttered. Maybe not, Elena agreed, but you deserve to ask your questions if you want to. They debated late into the night. Voices raised, tears shed, old wounds reopened. Elena moderated without judgment, letting them express everything they'd held inside for years. By midnight, they had reached a consensus. They would meet Marcus, all of them, together. One meeting, a neutral location. After that, each would decide individually if they wanted further contact. The next morning, Elena called the number from Marcus's letter. "It's me," she said when he answered, his voice so familiar yet strange. "Elena." He sounded breathless. "I didn't think you'd call." "This isn't about you and me," she said firmly. "It's about the kids. They've agreed to meet you. Once, Saturday at Riverfront Park, noon. If you're serious about this, be there." "I will," he promised. "Thank you. I know I don't deserve—" "You're right," she interrupted. "You don't. But they deserve closure. That's why I'm calling." After hanging up, Elena sat in her car for a long time. 10 years ago, she'd imagined this moment differently. Rage, accusations, vindication. But the woman she'd become felt only a dull ache, like pressing on an old bruise. Saturday dawned clear and cool. The tension in the house was palpable as they prepared to leave. Liam drove his own car, giving everyone an escape route if needed. Elena loaded the others into the family SUV, checking and rechecking that everyone was okay. "Remember," she told them as they pulled into the park, "you can leave any time. Just say the word." He was already there, sitting at a picnic table near the duck pond. Thinner than Elena remembered, his hair shorter, streaked with premature gray. He stood as they approached, his hands clasped tightly in front of him. For a moment, no one moved. 10 years of absence crystallized into a single, breathless second. Then Noah stepped forward, curious rather than afraid. "I'm Noah," he said, as if his father might not know. Marcus's eyes filled with tears. "Yes," he whispered, "you're Noah." He looked at each of them in turn, visibly struggling to reconcile the children he'd left with the people standing before him. Sophia, now 14, tall and athletic. Aiden, 16, with artistic hands and watchful eyes. Zoe, 18, arms crossed defensively. Liam, 20, a man now, with no trace of the boy he'd abandoned. "Thank you for coming," Marcus said finally. "All of you." They settled awkwardly around the picnic table. Elena positioned herself at the end, close enough to intervene if needed, but giving them space for their own reactions. "I don't know where to begin," Marcus admitted. "How about why you left?" Zoe's voice was sharp. "Why you never called, not once in 10 years. Marcus nodded, accepting the anger. "I was sick," he began. "After Noah was born, I fell into a depression that kept getting worse. I felt disconnected, like I was watching my life through a window. I started drinking to numb the panic attacks." He described his downward spiral, the hopelessness, the conviction that they would be better without him, the shame that kept him away even after he realized his mistake. "I convinced myself you had all moved on, that coming back would only disrupt your lives again." "We did move on," Liam said quietly. "We had to." Marcus looked at Elena then, really looked at her. "You did an amazing job with them." "I didn't have a choice," she replied, not unkindly. "Mom built us," Noah said suddenly. "When you left, she built us into a family again." Sophia nodded. She learned to fix the car and help with math homework. She never missed a soccer game. Not one. "She worked 2 jobs when Liam needed braces," Aiden added. "She taught Zoe to drive." "She did everything," Zoe finished, her voice breaking slightly. "Everything you were supposed to help with." Marcus absorbed their words, each one landing like a physical blow. "I'm so sorry," he said, tears flowing freely now. "I know that's not enough, but I am truly sorry." They talked for nearly 2 hours. As the conversation began to wind down, Marcus looked at Elena again. "Can I ask what you've done? Professionally, I mean. The house looks different. You all seem comfortable." "We are," Elena confirmed. "I'm a senior accountant now. Full benefits, good salary. We've managed." What she didn't say was how hard they'd fought for that stability. The years of scraping by. The exhaustion. The moments she'd nearly broken under the pressure. "I'm glad," Marcus said softly. As they stood to leave, he reached into his pocket and pulled out 5 envelopes. "I wrote each of you a letter. Things I couldn't say in person. You don't have to read them now, or ever, but they're yours." One by one, the children accepted the envelopes. Noah gave him an awkward half-hug. Sophia shook his hand formally. Aiden nodded a goodbye. Zoe took the envelope without meeting Marcus's eyes. Liam was the last. "I'm glad you're doing better," he told him, his voice neutral. "Really?" As they walked back to their cars, Elena hung back slightly. Marcus approached her cautiously. "Thank you," he said, "for raising them, for bringing them today." Elena looked at him, this man who had once been the center of her world. She felt no love, no hate, just a distant recognition. "I didn't do it for you," she said quietly. "I did it for them. They deserved answers. I know, and they deserved better than what I gave them." Elena nodded, then said what she'd realized during their conversation. "We're not the family you left, Marcus. We're something different now. Something stronger." "I can see that," he admitted. "I need you to understand something," Elena continued. "If you're going to be in their lives, any of their lives, it has to be reliable, consistent. They've had enough disappointment." "I understand. And one more thing." Elena met his eyes directly. "They're legally mine now. All 5 of them. I adopted them after the divorce. I've set up college funds, insurance policies, everything to secure their future. That doesn't change, regardless of your involvement." Marcus looked stunned. "You adopted them?" "All of them." "Yes. They needed to know they couldn't be taken away, that they belonged somewhere permanently." He absorbed this information slowly, the full weight of what Elena had built in his absence finally sinking in. "You're a good mother," he said finally. "Yes," Elena agreed simply. "I am." 3 months after their meeting at the park, life had found a new rhythm. Noah and Sophia occasionally met Marcus for ice cream or a movie. Aiden had coffee with him once, showing him his sketchbook. Zoe maintained her distance, though she had finally opened her letter. Liam spoke to Marcus on the phone every few weeks, keeping him at arm's length but not shutting the door completely. On a warm summer evening, Elena sat on the porch watching Noah practice pitching in the front yard. Inside, the sounds of family life continued. Sophia's music, Aiden's laughter, the occasional slam of a door as Zoe came and went with friends. Liam was back at college, thriving. Her phone buzzed with a text from Liam. "Professor loved my psychology paper. Said my insights on family resilience were uncommonly mature." Elena smiled, typing back, "Because you lived it. Proud of you." She put her phone away and looked out at the life they'd built. Not perfect, not unscathed, but whole in its own way. The wounds of abandonment had scarred over, becoming part of their story rather than defining it. One choice at a time. One day at a time. One family, defined not by who had left, but by who had stayed. Please do comment your feedback and subscribe to our channel for more unexpected stories. Remember, it's never too late to change your story.